Well, good evening, everybody. I see the screen and I don't see my face. So are we on, Sarah? Okay. So I am honored to finally get a chance to sit down and talk with Sharon Bruneau, somebody that I've admired and idolized in the magazines for many, many years. You were probably, in my mind, probably one of the greatest at what you did.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. I do.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Because
stopping by.
You're a busy schedule. I mean, you're all over.
It's like a 4-hour drive, dude.
Can I borrow some sugar? Can I borrow a protein shake? And she goes by. It's like, but anyway, I do appreciate you coming by.
No, it's fun because we meant to do this a couple of years ago and I didn't make it out. So I had to be out this way anyway, and I was looking forward to it. So I'm glad we made this happen.
Well, you made it happen.
Well,
I appreciate
thank you for the invitation.
Well, you're always welcome. You're like family, and you're somebody that's very positive and upbeat. And in this crazy world, I think, in a way, we need more of Sharon Bruneau's in the world right now.
Well, I'm staying.
You had me at Sharon Bruneau. We need you to stay. So, what do you think? Here's how your career. So, how did it start? And did you ever imagine that you were going to get into fitness modeling and fashion the way you did? Because I got to tell you, you weren't just a typical model. I mean, anybody that has seen, and we'll be putting some of that information up, hopefully along the interview or maybe sometime later. It was like art. Some of the work that you did, I would just look at it and I've never seen anybody quite the way you showed your body, but yet it was classy and it was beautiful and unique.
Wow.
Even the thing with the duct tape that you did.
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah.
What was your idea?
Well, it wasn't duct tape. It was red body tape.
Body tape. What kind of duct tape?
I don't know for those who follow fashion, but I think it was Terry Mugler and one of the couture designers had his models walking down the runway a couple of years ago in tape swimsuits. And like, that was my idea 20 years ago, way ahead of my time. No, I appreciate that because that's what I aimed for when I was doing the photo shoots. It's like, they were so, it was an honor to be a part of the publication era, for one. We didn't, all of us, I said when I, not just myself, but the other athletes like Corey and Linda and Tamaya and Monica, all the top girls that were in the publications at the time, and gentlemen, the athletes. We didn't realize how lucky we were because we didn't foresee the demise of publications due to the internet, right? So I wanted to do something, that's what I tried for, to be a little different. What can I do differently? We can all flex, we're all in shape. We all know how to pose well. So I would think of different concepts to bring to the set. And some were a little daring, like you said, with the tape and the saran wrap and different wigs. And it was a joy to work with Allison Reynolds, who mostly shot with myself and Robert Reef.
Another good photographer.
Great guy. Love him. We did a lot of work together. And because she used to do the style and makeup and hair for Playboy. So I would always request Allison. And I would just let her play with my hair, makeup, whatever. It's anything that would help me stand out, right? So, when I hear compliments like that, it makes me smile because that's what I always aimed for. But did I think that I was going to be involved with so much after winning my pro card? No, I didn't know what to expect. I'm from Canada, although we do have bodybuilding in Canada, even throughout the 80s and 90s, but nothing to the level that you had in the U.S. As far as guest posers, Robert Kennedy, who was part of the golden era, who's now joined the Weeder brothers and all in heaven together. Another luxury to have worked with all of them. He is Toronto boy, so he had Muscle Mag International and Oxygen, and but even with that, everything was mostly shot in California. So I didn't know what to expect. I win my pro card, and I thought, that's fantastic. I won a pro card and a trophy. So now I can say I did it, and now what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life now? And then came the contracts and the travel. And I mean, like every month we were in front of the cameras, either still photography or doing film and TV and so forth. So thanks to bodybuilding, my life evolved to something I never foresaw ever when I first started training just to work out at my local gym in Canada, So very fortunate, very blessed, and I'm glad I put the work in. You never know. You don't know where your passions are going to take you. Just got to go for it.
Were you involved with health and fitness before? I mean, when you were younger.
I was always a jock. I am a girly girl, but
never looked like a jock.
Well, that's what I mean. Because when I say that, people are like, "No, you're too much of a girly girl." Yeah, I like dresses and heels, and I like, do my hair. Not a lot of makeup ever, but I was always conscious of my physique because I'm very tall and skinny. And, as a kid, I was skinny mini, or, tall crow and all this, like kids tend to do. And I just didn't want to be skinny. So I was always in the track team, always on volleyball and, tennis. And then later after school, that's why I joined a gym because I just wanted to tone my legs and my butt, and, just to be fit, be happy with my body. And it was a local gym owner that said, actually, my first husband at the time before we were married, he showed me a Flex magazine with Rachel McClish on the cover.
One of my favorites also.
Right.
I think you two were probably my favorite overall.
I'm honored to be in her company.
But I'll tell you, different. Completely different styles.
Yeah.
But both beautiful, both did a lot for bodybuilding.
Thank you.
You both opened the doors in so many ways.
She was the catalyst because I just fell in love with the shape of her legs and her glutes. And I said, that's what I've been trying to aim for. So I started training a little harder. Didn't want to do upper body. I didn't want biceps and that. I was still at that stage until the local gym owner had suggested I enter a competition. What? What do you mean bodybuilding?
You never thought about it?
Never thought about it. And she took me to one of the amateur shows. And at the time, I was residing in Alberta, Canada. And a little amateur show, right? And I want to do that. I could do that. Just being on stage and performing and everything. And so I did my first show, of course, amateur show, especially in the day, like in the 80s. This is like 84, I think, or 85.
Those are good years.
And I was still, again, nothing like the U.S. Like you guys had everything already going on. With the Olympias and the Muscle Fitness and the Mecca, like everybody trained there, right? Over in cricket land, you had a couple of bodybuilders. So still, I didn't know what to expect, right? But I got the bug. And so when I won my first show, there's just 4 of us in my category, heavyweight, right? So I won,
You were a heavyweight?
I was a heavyweight, and then I went middleweight.
Unbelievable.
And then I went heavyweight. See, the first show...
So you don't look like you never looked like a heavyweight to me.
Yeah. The North Americans, I was a heavyweight.
Wow.
Canadian Nationals, I was a heavyweight. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because when I had competed in the Canadian Nationals, which was held 1990 in Toronto, and I was pounded and just like, fierce, It's like, my legs aren't big enough. And I look at the photos now and like, and I just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I did dabble in some Anavar and maxi bowling, and to help put the size on because I'm tall and skinny. So I got to a certain level, and then I just decided to cross that line. So I was packing it on.
Anavar is it more of a cutting agent? Is it more for leaning?
Well, because I never used anything. Like I got some good size off that. Like it helped. It just absorbed it. Yeah. It's like, not massive, but enough to where I wasn't burning muscle.
Yeah, you never looked massive to me.
Well, I was a pretty big girl. And then when I, the Canadian Nationals, and I looked back after competing and, I was in shape and lean and everything, but I thought, nope, that's not why I entered this. I wanted to be Rachel. I want to be, Gladys Portuguese. So at the North Americans, I kind of trimmed down, still a big girl, but I had packed on so much size that it didn't matter. And then I turned pro. And then, I was overjoyed when they announced we're drug testing everybody. We want the girls to be smaller. So I just kept going back smaller. So I had to alter my training because I went like this and then like that. And that's why I looked smaller for a year because I kept trying to tone it in and hone it in. And then later on, they're like, well, you got to get bigger. And you're placing 10th because you're not as thick, you're not as muscular. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not why I entered. I mean, you take what you have for bodybuilding, what you're born with, and you just work it. It's like clay, right? You just mold it, sculpt it to what you present. That's what I loved about the era in the 80s and 90s is you could just have a silhouette of someone and you knew exactly who they were.
Yeah.
That's Frank Zane.
That's true.
That's Linda Murray. That's Corey Everson. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's, you knew. And now today's athletes, because it was all about sculpting and the tiny waists and the sweeps and the flares, and everybody had their own, Linda's with the shoulders and Corey's beautiful long sweeped hamstrings and, Franco Columbo, the split in his chest. I mean, you can pick each athlete, like Tom Platz, the quads, right? But that's what made the sport so fun and interesting. Everybody had their individual style.
They looked different.
Everybody looked different. Now,
everybody looks the same.
Mad respect to the athletes because I know the work that's put into it.
Sure.
The dieting and the training. It's like eat, sleep, train. And the fitness girls to do these routines on top of everything on low carbs. They're incredible gymnasts. They all, like the girls, I don't care what category. There's many categories now, as you know. They all look fabulous, but they all look the same. Right. And then the guys, they're all massive and cut and any sport, you get bigger, better, faster, stronger. You can jump higher. And, that's just the way the sports evolve, no matter what your sport is. But unfortunately, bodybuilding, it kind of lost its sizzle for me because everybody looks the same.
God, I hope I don't look the same when I decide to go back up on stage. That'd be horrible. I don't want to look like anybody. I want to look different. In my mind is the classic physique. I think of you. I think of Rachel, Corey, all different body types. Linda. When I think of bodybuilders, I think of Steve Reeves. I think of a Frank Zane. I think of
beautiful.
Yeah, Steve was a good friend.
Steve Reeves?
Yeah, I got to hang out with him for a period of time.
What's his number?
He's probably hanging out with Joe and Ben now.
Yeah. Oh, is he? No.
Yeah. 72 years old. He passed away.
He did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was an amazing person to talk to.
Beautiful, man.
And that was Frank Zane's favorite bodybuilder.
Right.
And Frank was still amazing. And then we had Franco. And you could always tell. But to me, those were classic physiques.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't have the extended gut that we have today.
Yeah.
I think we need that look back.
Well, and I know they're trying to do that with the like you said, the classic physique rounds.
But I think that overall look, I think it's still a standard. I just think it's a better looking body. I think your body style type, you never looked like you were hungry. You might have been dieting, but some of these poor girls.
You didn't see my last Olympia. I was sinewy. Yeah, I over depleted.
Well, you probably went to all different areas physically and mentally to be your best.
Yeah. Well, and we all do, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I just wish I had somebody to keep me sane, like to help guide me when I started I'm because I wouldn't have imploded so much.
Did that happen?
Oh, every show except for the North Americans.
So most people don't understand that, do they?
They don't, because you don't think. Well, and I respect when you have someone like Linda Murray or Corey Everson or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lee Haney, right? During it, they come back and they win. They defend their title and they win it, and at number 5, number 6, number 7. To keep that zone is highly respectable because
it's very unnatural,
right? To have that calm. I was always like, a marble in a tin can, in my brain because I'm not ready and I'm not lean enough and I'm gonna,
That's actually the way I would get.
Yeah,
I'd get the same way, right?
When I trained with Charles Glass, he was able to control that for me. He would keep me calm and he would be my sight. Because when I looked at myself in the mirror, it's like, oh boy, I'm looking smooth. I'm not this, I'm not that. I just listened to Charles.
Well, he was one of the greatest trainers.
The best. Best.
Everybody always, and he's very humble, isn't he? He's
a sweetheart. You talk about a classic man. Just, love him. Just, he's solid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was quite a competitor himself.
Yeah. Phenomenal. And a gymnast.
That I didn't know.
Former gymnast. You didn't know that?
That I didn't know.
He would do flips on stage and such. I mean, I used to see him at Gold's Gym, when it was fun in the 90s and that, right? And he'd do like a hanging plank, like gymnasts do, so the body's straight, you hang from a bar. And he's still in amazing shape. This guy is never out of shape. And how old is Charles now? He's up there.
He's an age.
Right?
Robbie Robinson's the same way.
Wait, he just turned 77. I mean, he could compete, like right now, step on stage and compete.
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
Yeah.
He's just ripped.
We've had him here before.
Yeah.
We have. He's hung out here. We've had him on the show. Phenomenal. We took him over to the building's San Diego backdrop.
Oh.
And he took his shirt off and showed his abs, and everybody just stopped doing what they were doing.
He stopped traffic, Phenomenal. Oh, and a lot of that era never stopped training either.
No. Well, it's their DNA. It's what they're made of.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't either. Look at you.
Oh, no, I did for a while.
Yeah, but you look phenomenal.
I got back into training. And muscle does have a memory. I'm telling you, it does.
Well, some people's muscle has the dementia.
Oh, my. Are you trying to tell me something?
No, I'm not talking about you. Maybe I'm talking about me. I don't know. But is that a Freudian slip? Is that a wet slip? Anyway. No, but so you trained for so long, so hard, and you're so disciplined. Did you feel like you just needed a break?
Yeah. Well, I did back away from competition, and I trimmed down to like a fit body because Joe kept me under contract for a few years.
I know he thought the world of you.
Oh, yeah, well, he loved his athletes. Right?
I've gone to the office a couple of times. I don't know if you knew that. I actually gone there in Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
And even at some events, he didn't say a lot. Joe was a very interesting guy. I don't think I've ever heard anybody like him.
I miss him.
But you were one of his favorite. I mean, he thought, in my mind, from what I heard, say, you were one of his favorites.
Oh, love that, man.
I mean, that's what I remember him telling me.
Yeah, and I was always grateful because there were so many athletes, that he housed under contract.
Yeah.
And we're also grateful. And he brought Arnold here and that. I mean, it's just, we all love him. We all
thought the world of you. He loved Sean Ray.
That's wonderful.
Sean Ray also, he thought the world of Sean Ray.
Yeah. Well, and he loved Corey. He loved Rachel.
Yeah.
Now, I think Rachel was his favorite. But, he talked a lot about Corey and Rachel and Linda, how elegant she was.
He spoke a lot about you, too.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice to hear. Yeah, I mean, I loved working for him, and thanks to Joe. And again, I didn't know about contracts. Then when I did get a contract, I assumed they were always around, but they weren't because the year I came in and turned pro in 1991 is the year the contract wars began.
1991 is when you turned pro?
Yeah. Yeah. It was held in Los Angeles that year. And it was Bill Dobbins that took me to go see Joe Weider because Joe wasn't at the show. And Bill Dobbins approached. It was the first time I met everybody, right? I didn't know. I was green from Canada, I remember walking backstage and I saw Tazzy Cologne back there and Nicole Bass. So, like some of the girls I saw in magazines. So I'm thinking, I should have trained harder. Look what I'm up against. And then Bill Dobbins came backstage, introduced himself, and he goes, have you met Joe yet? Joe who? Joe Weider? No. Joe Weider, I was just blown away. He took me to Joe's house. We had lunch with Joe in his backyard, and then Joe offered me a contract. But I didn't know contract wars had begun. I was about to say the WBF had just entered. Vince McMahon was going to start his own bodybuilding federation. So he was scooping a lot of the guys, right? And then Metarex was new, and they were scooping athletes. And Twin Lab, we got to get some athletes too. And then Joe's like, hey, wait a minute, you're stealing all my athletes. And so that's, I mean, talk about timing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
timing.
Yeah. But I loved it. I loved the travel. I mean, we all do. Who wouldn't, right? But then the seminars and the workshops and hosting certain events for Joe and just representing. And, it was such a joy. It was just such a blessing.
And the fashion was amazing. The type of clothing that was developed during that period of time that we don't see today. What you think? I mean,
and
some of it you probably say, I would never wear that again.
I would never wear that again. But at the time, like you had the hot stripes, everyone was wearing the striped tights, and then you had the perfetto wear and the crazy wear and all that thing, right?
I get stuff from my kids when they see those photos. They see the spandex.
See Dad.
They're really good. I mean, it's like, that's so gross, Dad. I mean, like, we were just talking about it the other day, right? But I thought it was cool.
Dad.
Why?
I can see everything. What?
One time I went to see my brother at work, and I went to hit this guy back from the gym, and I walked in like no big deal, and everybody was just freaked out. I'm like, what you guys have a problem?
What's the problem, man?
Yes.
Everyone's wearing them.
Yeah, everybody's like staring down at me like this, and I'm like, is there a problem? Remember that story?
No, but you know the joke, right?
I didn't put a sign.
You're supposed to put the potato in the front, man, not the back. That's why they're all staring. Didn't you tell them that?
Okay, it was an out. It's not an innie. No, but I loved the clothing, and I loved. Didn't Gary Stride own a company too?
His was crazy wear, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean he was kind of ahead of his time a little bit, and did very well with it. I think.
Yeah.
So that stuff was great.
See, and I had this conversation. Remember Perfetto sportswear?
Yeah.
That's who I'm staying with right now in Malibu is Rick and Tammy Ciotti. Still very dear friends, and I worked his catalog a lot in the day.
Beautiful catalog.
He's like a brother from another, right? Anyway, but we're just talking about the fashions, and he might bring Perfetto back. And I love, my favorite was the Jane Fonda era, like with the spandex and the leg warmers and the bodysuits with it.
Never wore those.
You'd rock it, man.
Okay, maybe behind.
Oh, sure, you'd wear skin tight tights, but you wouldn't wear it.
Maybe behind closed doors, I did.
Is that another Freudian slip? Are you?
I didn't think we were going to go into this area of the show. This is not scripted, as you can tell.
I told you we're going to play.
Yeah. So I think you were probably, look at where, I'm not knocking bodybuilding now. It is different.
I'm not knocking it either. Yeah. It's a different time and era.
Exactly.
And like I said, mad respect because it is hard work.
Everybody during that time wanted to be involved with bodybuilding because it was so cool. It was so hip.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Everybody that normally wouldn't.
Well, look at Gold's Gym, and again, it wasn't just the bodybuilders. We had the wrestlers and the ballers and the actors and, entertainers, singers, musicians, everybody worked out at the Mecca. And we were like a huge family.
A big entertainment center.
But we all worked out. Like it was a serious workout that we'd all take off to the firehouse and that's when we had our play. All work first and then play later.
Right.
But, that's how I got to be friends with James Caan and Ray Liotta, who are both passed away now. Yeah. And it was shocking that they followed bodybuilding. Gregory Hines, our biggest fan.
I remember seeing him at the '84 Mr. Olympia.
He was at every Olympia and Arnold's Expo was called at the day.
Phenomenal.
Arnold's Classics, right?
By the way.
Yeah.
Too young. He could be passed away.
Yeah. And it's just.
James Caan was another, what an iconic.
He was a nut. But it was just, and then, when you travel and that, and the people that you meet that actually follow the magazines. And I'm not like saying, who would ever follow those? I never thought people look. But it's just amazing how bodybuilding influenced so many.
It influenced the movies.
Exactly. Like Joe's vision was epic, right? And he comes, he and Vince Garonda and Jack LaLanne.
I trained at Vince's.
You did. I never made it over there.
I trained with him 2 months before he passed away.
Oh, yeah. I never got to meet him. Never went over there.
Very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Eric Estrada used to train with him.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
So I'd given him some stuff because Vince had given me some things. And when I saw Eric not too long ago, I gave it to him. He was like, he said, this is the best present you could have ever given me.
Yeah.
He says, those are the best times in my career, my life.
And did you find, this is interesting, this is always brought up, because when I do, my online training or make appearances or even like through Facebook and Instagram, which I love, people reach out and ask me training questions, nutrition, whatever, which I love. Like, feel free to reach out. I am on Instagram and Facebook. My website's coming out. It's up right now, SharonBruneau.net. It's
Is that on the
in
bottom there, sir?
it's in the process of we're going to be adding more stuff in my training videos. But the point is, in the day, training in nutrition was just so simple. It's the basic information that works, and it still works to this day because thanks to the internet, you can research a lot. Thanks to the internet, it's very confusing. Which one is a proper program? They say to do this. What about that? What about this new thing that they're doing? What about that diet? What about this food? What about that stuff? What about this pill? And you just stick to the, it's chicken and rice and vegetables. You go in, you train just at 40 minutes at the most. You do cardio 3 days a week, and nutrition is 90% of the battle. I mean, it's so simple.
It is 90% of the battle.
But people now, they're led to believe that there's so much more to, you must have been training in the gym 7 hours a day. It's just, keep it simple but like the Vince Gronda and, Menser, I trained under Mike Menser.
I think he was
only for like 3 months of his day. He was heavy duty.
Oh, yeah,
It's like, it's killing me.
Never had a chance to meet Mike. I got to tell you, I think he was onto something with recovery.
Yeah.
And I think Leo Brada did kind of something similar, but not as intense, and was able to do pretty well with the type of recovery that he did.
Yeah. Because you got to rotate. I always say rotate your calories, rotate your workouts. It's like you can do 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off.
Your body adapts.
3 on, 5 off. I mean, you got to rotate, right? And adapts. And then the rest period in between, or like little rest in between. I always keep it guessing because I just find with most, if you chopped your head off, your body still thinks for itself. It's very stubborn. It doesn't want to work. And then it adapts very quickly to which you apply it to. So that's my philosophy is always rotate your programs, and it makes it more interesting too. You don't get so stagnant. And
what about the food?
The same thing. Rotate your calories. Food. Yeah. The more you do, the more you take in. The less you do, the less you take in. But even then, rotate around. Have high days, low days, no matter what. The amounts of protein, because too much of anything can also hurt you. So like, say protein, for instance, if you're taking too much protein, you're going to start losing your hair, you got slumber, you mess with your thyroid. So you really got to, it does somewhat come down to a science.
So what happened to my hair?
See, I wish I'd known you. Sorry, I can't fix that now.
Well, there's advantages to being bald, but we won't go there.
Oh.
So, what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Oh, I said one in hair products. What were your thoughts on cardio preparation?
Well, cardio.
Did you do cardio a lot when you were preparing for shows?
Not when I was bodybuilding, preparing for shows. I didn't do cardio until, prepping for competition.
Okay.
It's like 12, 14, maybe 16 weeks out. Then I started up the cardio. On the off season, sometimes I'd run to the gym and then do my workout.
That goals.
At the Mecca, yeah. Or there's day, and I wouldn't do any. But in running, isn't the best if you're trying to put muscle on. Yeah. Like for me, it was very difficult to put muscle on. So I laid off the cardio and I just did my weights.
Naturally lean.
I'm naturally lean. I'm naturally tall and thin, right? But if you're naturally, stocky and you have a hard time shedding it,
sure.
Then yeah, some light cardio. And and again, we're talking about cardio. It's just to entice your body to pick up the metabolism. You're not there to beat yourself up. You don't have to do cardio for over an hour and weights for another hour. Don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're working. You're going to be working with new people getting ready for competitions, or what is your?
Well, I'm training 2 people right now for competition online.
Okay.
It's over Zoom. I'll have programs though, thanks to COVID, with everything that happened with the gyms and so forth and so on. I just don't train. I have a couple of clients, but I'd rather just send you the program. I can design it for you, and I have Zoom calls with my clients and just guide them through everything. Or if you're local, I'll come meet you at the gym and take you through, a few of the workouts and set you up with the program and leave you be for a while.
Okay.
I'm just there to guide you.
Okay.
I'm not a Charles Glass where I'm going to sit with you each day,
Gotcha.
and that's more for, professional athletes, right? But you're going to find a lot of, I've always asked what my leg routine was for competition. How did I turn pro? What was my diet like?
Sure.
So you'll find finally, different training routines, nutrition tips. I'll have manuals.
Okay.
I'll have individual, like leg day, shoulder day. I'll have full bodies with different weights, without weights. I'll take you through an array of selections. You'll never get bored. And there's no excuse. You can even do it at home without weights, low impact. It still works for you,
Well, I don't think anybody ever get bored with anything that you're involved with.
Well, thank you. My biggest support right here. Well, I gotta come here more often.
Yeah, but I think we need to come to you sometime. We can take our cameras and stuff. We have another camera guy that we bring, but we'd love to get more.
That would be fun.
Carry more of the story of what you're going to be doing.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Now we have a big sector, and I never thought we would ever be talking about this when we were younger, but anti-aging.
And it's Dr. Robert Goldman
is very, very. I think he's the one that probably got me more focused on anti-aging.
Yeah.
He has that way. I think it's the way he put together that event that he puts on.
A4M.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. In Vegas, his anti-aging conference that he created. This Dr. Robert Goldman, Google him. This man is amazing. He's my hero.
I think he's my hero too. I mean, he's so humble.
He's so knowledgeable. He's so humble. That's why I love him. He is so humble.
But he's a badass.
But yeah, he is. I mean, 10th Dan degree black belt in several styles, and he's got 10 doctorates. I'm not kidding. 22 Guinness World Records. He speaks man. I mean, it sounds like, yeah, right. No, I'm serious.
He's a real deal.
He's a real deal. And he's actually the one that pulled me into it as well.
So it makes sense, right?
Well, of course it makes sense because, if you think about it, and I read something a while ago, and, less people are having babies nowadays. There's, it used to be before you get married, you have kids. Less people are having children, and more people are living longer and still, after the youthful lifestyle, if you want to say. But anti-aging has really blown up more so than ever.
Is that because there's more people that age that are trying to take?
Exactly, right? I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 next year. And,
have a big party.
And have a huge party. We should tape that.
Yes.
You guys should come.
There's probably some things we shouldn't do.
Hey, you are dealing with me. So
I swear, it's art. It's all art.
I'm different. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, share, leave a comment, hit the like button. It'll help this channel grow. Also, if there's a topic or a subject you'd like me to cover that hasn't been on here yet, send me a note. Maybe you'll see it here next week. I also want to take this time to send out a huge thank you and appreciation to my Patreon members that are helping make this possible. If you'd like to become a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month, you'll have first access to all the videos, news, tips, and photos. Plus, I'll be doing 2 lives a week. So come join me there. It'll be fun. Also, I want to thank everyone that's been joining me at SharonBruneau.net, my website where you can find full galleries of never-seen-before photos and videos and classics, plus my fitness, nutrition manuals, tips, and videos. So either way, I look forward to seeing everyone. Peace out. Keep flexing. Love and light. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Till next time.